Now this is you working on it because of all your jewelry.
Right. We're gonna. I start bulking out the base here, just covering the wooden base and the dark clay we have with the medium gray Super Sculpey Firm.
That's a cool little shot, little double shot there. Picture inside a picture. That's sweet. Two different angles of it.
And had we had more time, we could have gone completely off on this base, you know.
Oh, and we would have too.
Rocks, and skulls, and vines, and freaking foliage, and
God,
little animals.
We would have made this base great.
If only you would have seen. You should have seen it.
Again with the fractals, rock patterns. Every time.
Jared likes to, sometimes when he's doing these kind of rocky bases, he likes to bake some Sculpey and break it.
Oh, that's the way you get the best rocks, because you could, you'll get these little microscopic fissures and crumbles that you could just, or we could never sculpt, I'll say. Some people probably could, but.
You just bake like a slab of Sculpey and you just smash it. And how it comes apart a lot of times looks just like sort of a stone facing or rocks with the edges are so sharp and the cracks look so good.
That's a poetry. Oh, yeah, read all this
When it does that.
And what's sad is we had never thought about it before that.
That's true. But that's why he's the king of statues.
It seems so obvious now. You don't sculpt the rocks, you make little rocks.
Right.
But also a lot of the base I like to do some of the base with the X-Acto. Because
absolutely.
You can get those crisp lines and stuff. You can get some deep fissures in a base that gives you some real dark shadows and make it look ominous. And again, you get a bunch of lines going through it diagonally or something, and I know I'm repeating myself, but you get those action lines, and it makes it look like it makes it look like it is moving. And of course it's not.
You know, something I think this experience, this masterclass video has taught me is I don't know if we have 2 hours worth of things to say about sculpting.
And we should. That's what's sad. We've been doing it for about 15, 20 years now.
A big X-Acto is invaluable on this base, these rocks.
But I think the video tells the tale.
Well, exactly. Luckily, you can see the process so much clearer than we sort of hillbilly guys can explain it.
That's interesting how you you'll keep a piece of Sculpey on your finger as you're working.
Right.
What's that about?
It's there. It's handy for me to use to lay right over your mistakes. And obviously, some of what we're talking about is sculpting technique, tool on clay. And a lot of what we're talking about is sort of design, That's a huge element of it, from pose to sort of a composition, to the design of the stuff on him, his belt, the skull on the belt buckle, the helmet. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff that a sculptor does. Both interpretations of things that exist, for instance, licensed characters, and making stuff up out of whole cloth.
And I like to create patterns and then kind of break them. You can see it in the straps on the axe. I don't mind putting a sword on either side of the belt.
Well, he's got plenty of enemies to kill. Jared's wife is a tremendous sculptor, better than us in reality. But Jared always says that she'll never be a serious sculptor like us because she doesn't sculpt weapons.
And that's true.
The more weapons, the better.
It's rough in the streets. You got to be armed.
You can see from some of these long shots, the guy's legs are pretty long looking, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a Joe Kubert look to it. I like that.
It's a little stylish. It's better than my infamous short legs.
Yeah, that's right. And they look even longer until you work on them a little more and bulk them out. Because at the beginning, they're almost like stick legs.
Right.
Because you refuse to work on them. They're like the neglected legs. But as you bulk them out a little, they look more and more natural. But still, they're kind of cool, like a long-legged hero dude drawn by Joe Kubert.
And then with the big fur boots, he's firmly planted in reality.
Right. He's a barbarian from colder climes, with the fur boots and the fur we're gonna have flying off his back, etc. This guy, he wants to drive his enemies before him and
hear the lamentation of the women.
Hear the lamentation of the women.
Kind of like Conan would. I didn't know we were thinking about it so much. We really gave a lot of thought to his character, and
we didn't work on this for 100 hours, but when you sit there for 100 hours, you think about the character, that's for sure. And, we're not the most professional sculptors in the world. We as we said, we've seen John Brown's DVD, and it's awesome. And if Clay Moore or Randy Bowen from our industry did a DVD or a master class, it would be so much
better.
So much better. But the method would be so much more professional, I have no doubt. But this is how we do it. We're self-taught. We didn't go to an art school or any kind of sculpting classes at all. This is how we've learned to do it ourselves, and we're a little bit scatterbrained in our method, in that we we'll go from the skull on his belt to his helmet to his shoulder to his leg. We'll just go everywhere. Some guys might finish one part and move on to the next. We realize that this is not the optimum way to film a teaching DVD the way we work, but what are you going to do? It's the way we work.
It's kind of like we say, never watch somebody make sausage.
There you go.
Never watch the Shiflett Brothers sculpt. But we're still making our mistakes, and it probably does look pretty haphazard. And that, again, that just
Is our process. So if you're working and you're thinking this is all haphazard, you're just like us, or we're just like you. I'm not sure if that's good, but those horns could have had like one more little turn in them. Like they kind of go in and they could have like kind of started to curve back out or something fun.
Right.
I think we end up like breaking one of them off a little bit to where it looks like it's kind of the tip has been broken off.
I was wondering what animal they were actually from, whether you were ever going to divulge that or whether you knew.
Ox.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And another thing you're not going to see here on the video is, sometimes you have to cut these sculptures into pieces
Right.
for the mold making process.
Right, and we like to cut with, again, there's a ton of different ways you can do it. The most common ways are a jeweler saw or just clipping it with some clippers. I like to clip it because I feel like the jeweler saw puts a lot of stress on the piece. And so, like if I was going to clip this left arm off, I would go in from the back and X-Acto out a little square.
Right.
And go in with the... Now, this is if the clay was still soft. If I knew I was going to have to take the arm off, hopefully ahead of time, I would clip it off while it was still soft and then just repair whatever had been damaged. And that's part of the process. You don't want to... You don't want to feel like you have your... And this is just a kind of a psychological aspect of it. But you don't want to get the piece completely finished and then go, hey, I've got to cut it up now. It's better to know the cutting it up is part of the process.
Cutting up it can be part of the process. You still have that in store. And that's one of the great things we've been talking about with Super Sculpey is that everything is fixable. Everything is repairable.
Right.
So you have to cut it up. You know that's coming, and then you're still working on it, and that part of the process is to fix what you just damaged in the cutting the arms and legs off, what have you.
Right. So if you know it's going to have to be cut up, do it halfway into it. Do it 3/4 of the way into it. Don't wait until the piece is totally perfect, all sanded, and you feel like you're completely done, and now I'm going to take a jeweler saw to it. It's better to create those keys, create those pins, however you're going to do it, as you're going. And then repairing it, you don't feel like you've just...
destroyed all the work.
Destroyed a lot of, work that took you all the time to do it. It's just, it's very difficult mentally to go in and cut on something that's totally
finished.
So we like to clip it. We will use a jeweler saw every once in a while, every blue moon. It does have its place, and everybody does something like that differently. But, hey, I just want to say this has been a blast. Thanks so much to everybody at Noman, Alex, David, Robert. Y'all made it really easy and fun, and we're just humbled and grateful that y'all gave us this opportunity. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely. As I said in the beginning, we appreciate Noman reaching out to traditional sculptors. And it's been a real blast, and we're honored to be included with the other guys. The names on that list of guys doing the master class
Really
is incredible. We're really happy, and we hope you guys learned something about our methods. Not the most conventional, but they work for us in doing this scale work in the comic book statue industry. And we've had a lot of fun. We want to thank Alex, and thanks to Noman. And we hope you guys learned something. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye.